Hello, welcome to another episode. Today we are going to be talking about the map part I did yesterday or the day before, depending on when it was posted. That one was Slingshot. I directly used characters from River Chasing, so I felt like I was a couple weeks or talk about it. Now, I'm doing filming because and I didn't get time to do it then, so I'm doing it now, and I have recorded the process for drawing the background just as sorry, just as like I didn't have anything else. So let's talk a little bit about it. These that are shown are, and I mentioned this in the description of that map part, we have Snowfoot, who is the golden cat in the back. We have Thundercry, who is this ginger fluffy tabby, and we have Money Mask, who is a gray and brown Molly. These three are all from Sky Colony, which is why I save, like, I'm doing all the Sky Colony stuff right now, so that we'll just kind of like build on to what we know. These characters are significant in the, I would call it the B plot of River Chasing, which, like, the A plot is obviously wave and scale and the things that are going on in Lake Colony, and that is, like, that whole drama and that whole struggle is kind of one part. And then when we get to Sky Colony, there's another part that is also really drama filled. And Dark Colony does have like a C plot of like, theirs is interesting too, but it's not as intense, and it's not as how would I describe this, as like Dark Colony's plot sorry, I have something in my throat today. Sky Colony's plot involves multiple characters like Lake Colony's, while Dark Colony's is mostly between 2 or 3 cats. And I can explain that later, because I don't want to spoil too much about Dark Colony. Like, I'm not ready for that. I will mention who the protagonist is for that colony next week when I do the character pages, but for now, that's kind of like, I want to keep that one on the down low. Mostly because I haven't done any information for it, like, too much, but I digress. Sky Colony's plot deals with, I originally wanted it to be Ember, and Ember I mentioned as the cat that becomes Wave's mate later. So that was the original idea, that it was going to be those two as protagonists for each of their colony. And then I was doing a little bit more of writing, and I looked into what the plot I had for Dark Colony was, and I decided that it would be more personal and important if I had Doc, Ember's sister, be the protagonist. And when I looked into it with the plot that I had for Sky Colony, it made a lot more sense and seemed more interesting. And that's not to say that Ember won't be important, because I love Ember. I think he is adorable, and absolutely a fun character to have, but Doc makes more sense. So I am all for having her as the main point of view, because she's also this, like, voice of reason that the other two protagonists are not. Like, Wave is for sure she's a genuinely good person. However, she does not say anything for the most part, and she has some defiance in her, which is a part of her later plot. And the Dark Colony cat, it is definitely a cat who doesn't speak up for themselves, and who falls into a trap that, if they had a little bit more reason and like logic, they would have been able to see and avoid. For Doc, that's not it. So her story is, I would kind of call it like, this is where the mystery aspect comes in, because it's sort of like a whodunit for a bit, and that involves with Snowfoot and her relationship to Thundercry and Money Mask, because, and this is gonna be like some minor spoilers, I'll eventually get to explain all of this, but this is minor spoilers for like the first maybe 2 or 3 parts of River Chasing, where Snowfoot is trying to pursue Tawny Spark, who is another Tom in the colony. He's also a hunter, and he happens to be Doc and Ember's father. Now, his mate, Beach Ear, passed away after giving birth to the kids, because she was significantly weakened from the birth, and he has moved on but hasn't picked up a new mate because he wants to focus on being, number one dad and doing all the hunting he can, and just all around being super supportive to his children. And Snowfoot likes this attribute in him, that he's like a super dad, and wants to pursue that. However, he's not 100% on board, because he wants to listen to his kids, and his kids are like, we're not partial to this. But he's still an adult that's making his own decisions, so he's leaning to it. So when Snowfoot gets rejected because Tawny Spark ultimately listens to his children, who are not for it, because they first of all, they don't want their dad to have a new mate, because they think that he is replacing their mother, which he's not, but it's hard to explain that part to them. And 2, he doesn't want to upset them, and he would rather wait to do that when they're older and he's a bit older, so that they can all have like a mature conversation about this and understand that he's not trying to slight them. And he's patient, like, he'll wait for it. If he really wants to be in a relationship with Snowfoot, he will, wait forever. And that angers her, because she wants to, like, hook up now. So she does a little bit of poison, if you will. It's like a Russian roulette type deal, where she like poisons some of the prey in the colony, and it kind of gets randomized to who it goes for, and it gets picked up by the moderator Bramble who is actually Tawny Sparks' father, and who is Doc and Ember's grandfather. So I wanted it to have this personal connection to Doc when she is dealing with this, not just like, oh yeah, I'm in the same colony as Snowfoot and she's hitting on my dad, like I have like a couple degrees of separation, but she finds it very personal when her grandfather, a cat who took care of her when she was, very young, because he used to be a guardian, and the guardians, like teach the kids, and like he used to be hanging out with her when she was little, and he taught her all of the things that she knows about like climbing and looking for herbs, and like taught her brother all the things he knows about fighting and rock climbing, and it becomes really emotionally heavy for her because it's unsure if he'll die. Now, I'm not going to spoil whether or not he dies, because that I'm also not sure with. But there's that kind of like, Snowfoot is important to the plot, I would say, in the same way that like Minnow Spiral is, where it's like, you're going to be a catalyst for a lot of these events, but you're not necessarily the one that is always directly in focus. Like, Minnow Spiral is going to do a lot of bad stuff, and he's going to be important a little bit later that as I've written, but it's going to be more like your absence or the reaction to your actions is what's important, and it's not necessarily we're going to pay attention to you. So, anyways, thank you for watching. I know this is a bit of like a different video because I don't usually just do backgrounds, and least of all backgrounds for map parts, but I thank you for watching, and hope you enjoyed a little bit of some juicy spoilers for River Chasin. Next week I will be trying to do a character page of Doc, who is going to be our Sky Colony protagonist. I'll be talking a little bit about her life and a little bit about Sky Colony's history and what they're like, and then I'll be going into, after that, hopefully doing, like I did for Lake Colony, all of their like headshots with little blurbs about them. They only have 19 cats, so it'll probably just be like a one part. Yeah. So, anyways, thanks for watching. I will see you next week.
But each step that you took towards her, well, you took each one alone. And every time you said